Cathy Brooks of the Guidewire Group here at the AlwaysOn Innovation Summit. The pleasure of sitting with Dr. Paul Jacobs of Qualcomm.
Thanks for having me here.
Absolutely. Thanks for sitting down. We could have stood, but it would have been tiring. And
yeah, it's such a hard conference here. So.
It's very exhausting. It's so hard to be in this environment, don't you think? It's terrible weather.
You know,
food stinks.
I'm a Berkeley grad, so it is a little hard to be at Stanford.
Must be a little strange.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll move on from that. I don't want to make you too uncomfortable.
All right.
Let's talk about innovation, a topic that is close to the heart of Qualcomm. What does innovation mean to you?
Innovation for me is kind of the combination of coming up with a new idea and actually bringing it to market, putting together the team to actually, develop whatever that idea is, getting the partners together to do it. And, a lot of people think innovation is just a new idea. But if you can't actually execute on that idea and make something happen with it, then it's not really innovation. It's just sort of, kind of having fun with yourself.
Which can be fun in and of itself.
Yeah, but we're not going there.
No, we're not going to go there. But you mentioned a very interesting topic, this idea of stick-to-itiveness, this idea of being able to execute, which leads to the topic of the individuals involved in innovation.
Right.
What kind of qualities or characteristics do you see across the board when you look at the people with whom you've worked in the innovation ecosystem who have been the most successful?
The biggest thing for me is, I always say, question conventional wisdom. Like, when everybody says something is some way, you always know there's something about the assumptions that they're making that's wrong. If you figure out what that assumption that's wrong is, or a set of assumptions, and figure out how you can do it a little differently, that's really how you win. And that's what I find. Most people they're very curious, they question a lot, they don't accept the status quo. It's kind of those things. Of course, you've got to be a smart person and you got to be persistent to actually get your ideas out there, but it's really that kind of questioning nature that I think is important.
And question authority.
Of course, hey, that comes from Berkeley, right?
Of course it does. I knew we'd get back around to Berkeley. Go Bears.
Go Bears.
Yes. I went to a school that had a lousy football team, so I had to root for somebody else anyway.
So you rooted for the Bears? No.
Not really,
okay,
no.
Yeah,
sorry.
I didn't think so.
Qualcomm, huge company, into many different aspects of business, but also quite nimble company in terms of the different divisions that are constantly innovating.
Right.
How do you marry those two?
Oh, it's just, people come up with new ideas in all the different divisions, but the key thing is that we can bring those innovations to market by integrating things into the chipsets, or by working with the software developers that work on our Brew platform, or you go to the operator and you say, okay, here's this new idea, we gave you this enabling technology, now what do you think about this kind of a service, and so forth. So everybody's kind of got the same vision about how to do that, line up with the operator's business model, make the wireless internet sort of the most important technological innovation in the world, even more important than the wired internet. And once you give people those visions, then they'll find ways to execute within it.
When we talk about the question that just left my mind that I was going to ask you that just...
Well, I'll give you the answer, yes. Or no, or maybe.
Or maybe.
Maybe.
Trends.
Yeah.
Technology trends.
Well, obviously the cell phone, I have to say that, right? The phone is getting more and more capable, more and more computing power. All sorts of consumer electronics functions are getting integrated into the phone. And then you have the network connectivity, and so that to me is why I say that the wireless internet can have a bigger impact on the world. Most people in the world, the only computer they're ever going to have is going to be a phone. Mm-hmm. Now within the phone, what's the big things? Really we're focused a lot on multimedia right now. We're trying to launch this mobile TV service in the United States and actually around the world. Some of the other things that are going in, GPS capabilities, they've been in the phone for a long time to do emergency calls, but now we're actually seeing applications come out on them. One really cool one that I just saw, to diverge a little bit, it's this one where you take the phone running with you and it tracks where you are, all the elevation changes, tells you your splits and all sorts of stuff. And then you can look at it either on the phone or on a website, you can share it with people.
That's really cool.
Yeah, just really good stuff.
And very practical.
Yeah.
Gives you a reason to run with your phone, which you should anyway, in case you fall, you hurt yourself, it's a safety thing.
Look, I want you to run with the phone just so you might make a phone call or receive one. The carrier makes a little bit of money, then somehow they can buy some new technology from us.
Specifically from Qualcomm, of course.
Well, yeah.
That goes without saying.
Look, if they buy it from my partners, that's great too. So actually, we're in an interesting position because any kind of technology that goes into the phone really helps our business model out. I mean, we're all about getting the next new phone out, causing the replacement cycles to happen, keeping the average selling price of the phone up because there's some new content that people want to buy. So it's actually not necessarily about our technology. I mean, I think we're in a position where we can be almost the best partners to other companies because we're really just about providing some kind of enabling technology, and we have this channel to market. And if it's our technology, great. If somebody else comes up with some technology, we're interested in integrating that stuff into the phone too. So it's a nice position to be in.
Sure. When you look at technologies over time, is there any particular technology or product that has been a surprise to you, either because something that you thought had great promise didn't get off the ground, or something that you just looked at, thought was ridiculous, and then all of a sudden it got a burst of wind behind it?
I don't know about things that I thought were ridiculous that happened. Let's see if I can think of anything along those lines.
It could be strange, unusual, or just something that made your head tilt to the side.
The thing that I always felt bad about was like handwriting recognition. The fact that that never took off, even today, right? I mean, I was one of those guys, I carried around a Newton, and look, admittedly, the first Newton, the handwriting recognition was really lame, but the last Newton, it was great. And I used it all the time to take notes with until somebody told me I was retro because they had, taken it, discontinued it a while before. So it's that kind of stuff, and voice recognition is probably a similar sort of thing. Those kind of technologies where you have to make it work with a lot of people and they never really got much engagement with the consumer. I'm hoping that that'll happen, and you see a little bit of it coming into the cell phone now. And obviously, companies are doing things like automated voice response systems with speech recognition now. So maybe the technology is finally going to get there. It'll get some consumer acceptance. But that's one that I've sort of wished would move along a little faster.
On the line of wishes, lots of entrepreneurs might wish for advice from a successful individual such as yourself. So what advice might you offer to an entrepreneur who has an idea?
I have a lot of different ones. I mean, I think to start off with the thing I said earlier is really you got to question conventional wisdom. You got to be passionate about what you're doing. If you don't believe yourself, nobody else is going to believe in what you do. But maybe that's an entrepreneur, right? And then I think the other thing is you got to be willing to accept that you're going to make mistakes. If you are going to get out there and take some risks, you're going to make a mistake every so often. The key is not to make a career of making mistakes. So as long as you are willing to take those risks, you're willing to be very passionate and persistent about what you do, and you try and find something that's different from what everybody else is doing, I think that's really going to be the key.
Excellent. Well, Dr. Paul Jacobs of Qualcomm, thank you so much for taking the time to chat today. I'm Cathy Brooks, here at the AlwaysOn Innovation Summit. More later.